Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Look, I mean, the latest reporting to CNN is it looks like McConnell got his numbers, which is not a surprise here. He's pretty good at that. Yeah. What do Democrats do if the vote tomorrow is no witnesses, let's tie this thing up, put a bow on it, and the president can go around and say, I've been acquitted? What do you do?
Well, I think we continue our argument, which is a very strong argument. It's not a trial unless you have witnesses and unless you get the documents that the witnesses either have written notes simultaneously. That's the best evidence. And I don't want to go to the place of that it's a sham trial right now, but without any witnesses and without any documents, this hasn't been a real trial. And we've heard the chief arguer for the House manager say that over and over again. He wants witnesses, he wants documents, and if they're just going to shut it down and not do it, I think it's going to be very, very unfortunate.
Well, you have a White House refusing here, of course, to block witnesses from the House, refusing to vote for witnesses in the Senate, blocking documents, and now you have this expansive argument from the president's lawyer on the Senate floor. You heard it yesterday, saying that, hey, if the president deems his re-election in the national interest, he can do virtually whatever he wants. For folks at home, has Congress just been sidelined, in effect, as a check on the president's power?
Well, that isn't what the Constitution is about. The Constitution is about a check and balance, and he doesn't have unlimited power. And so really what you have here is probably the most expansive argument for presidential power in history. And I don't think that is what the founders believed. I don't think that's what good thinking people believe today is the way our government should work and the way it's structured.
Senator, the president in a tweet yesterday highlighted an interview that John Bolton gave, a radio interview on August 27th, where if you read the majority of the transcript, he's referring to both of the August calls that President Trump had with Zelensky, both earlier in August and then that controversial one on the 25th that we're all talking about and why we're here. And he said game over because Bolton described those calls in that interview as, quote, warm and cordial. Does this make you question John Bolton's motives in writing this book now, including what we know he includes in the book, and being open to testifying about just that, when earlier he called it warm and cordial?
Well, the important thing here isn't questioning motives. It's to get the firsthand testimony. We don't have his firsthand testimony.
I guess I should have phrased it differently. The veracity of what Bolton is saying then versus now.
Well, though that's when we get his firsthand testimony, that's what we make the judgment on all of the things like you're talking about.
Yeah.
But here we have a person who talked to the President of the United States every single day. He was his national security advisor. This is a national security issue. When you get into the situation where you're cutting off foreign aid to an ally, and you're doing it for political purposes. It's a shakedown, really, what's going on. And so what we're talking about here is getting his testimony and then evaluating it after you see how he testifies, answers all the questions. I'm not making the argument that he's a totally one-sided witness, but I really believe that he's an extremely important witness to the issues at hand.
I want to ask you again about what comes next, right? Because the president's lawyers also argued on the floor of the Senate before you and others that it's okay to accept foreign help, foreign information from a foreign government. Remarkable argument to make 4 years after we saw Russia's interference in the 2016 election. I wonder if that argument, and in effect by accepting that argument, your GOP colleagues, have they opened this country up to a repeat of that kind of interference from abroad and open up presidents not just to let it happen, but to pursue it happening?
I don't have any doubt that's the road you're going down, and it's a pretty outrageous road when you think about it, that you can shake down a foreign country to create a political situation so that you win the next election. And that's the real threat here. We're talking about preventing this kind of activity going into 2020. And that's the reason that this action has been brought, and that's the reason we should have a full and complete hearing with witnesses and documents.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the president takes that as well. Senator Tom Udall, a real pleasure to have you on the
Thank you.
program this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.